the totality of their accomplishments if they were to lay an egg Sunday in Pittsburgh. Let's just lay this out in very clear terms. First of all, they snapped the longest playoff drought in NFL in the league, 17 years. Yep. So it's been a long time. The head coach can't coach due to COVID protocols. They have not been in the building for basically 5 days due to those same COVID protocols. They will not be able to practice again before they actually come out of the field on Sunday to play the Steelers. They lost 5 games this year, one of which was a 5-point game to the Ravens, who are a terrific franchise, as we know. The other, they lost to the Jets when they dressed, 4 guys nobody even heard of, and they had no wide receivers. All right, you want to say maybe they could still found a way to run the ball? Maybe. But they had a walkthrough in the MetLife parking lot the morning of the game because they had all sorts of COVID issues at the facility. I don't care if they lose 30-3, which, by the way, they will not. This is an absolute success for the Browns no matter what.
Yeah, well, I think you're absolutely right. But at this point in the season, nobody wants to hear about the regular season successes. They want to keep getting them game checks, which is every week you get a higher number with the game checks for being in the postseason. That's from a player standpoint. But from a fan standpoint, fans should be thrilled by what they've seen because they have the right coach. Right? Think of how long it's been since the Browns could say, "Yep, this is our guy." We feel really good about this guy, and it's been a while. Kevin
was it Shoddy?
Yeah, probably.
Because they didn't even feel that good about Belichick. I mean, they did at the end, but
yeah. No, you're probably right, BT.
Probably Shoddy.
You're right. So think of how long that goes.
We're basically kids.
We were kids, exactly right. And so they have their coach, and they have the quarterback. Maybe he's not going to be a Hall of Famer, Baker Mayfield, but they have a capable quarterback who is a good leader for this team. The locker room rallies around him. They have talent on both sides of the football. This is a success for the Browns, and even if they lose this game, fans should say, at least we have an excuse. You know what I mean? It is going to be odd, though, for this game to see. This is the first time we've seen it in the NFL where the head coach is not available. We saw it a few times in college. There was a few. Mike Norvell from Florida State, he was unavailable for a game. There's a few others and it showed itself and how difficult that is to do. But without their head coach, who is their primary play caller, that puts a little bit of a damper on this. Now, Alex Van Pelt can do it, obviously, because he's the co-offensive mind over there. But just like Mike Prefer, their head coach, it's the first time doing it in a playoff game. So I just worry about consistency and continuity. Not to mention all the things that you just said, BT. They're not practicing. So how are you going to get ready for one of the toughest teams in the AFC by not practicing?
And not only is that obviously leading to some staleness, you would imagine, on the part of the players, but at least not that you could truly replicate what will happen on Sunday night against your heated rival, but at least, for a coach who's being thrust into a very unenviable position, might not be the worst thing in the world to blow the whistle a few times in practice as the guy. You know what I mean? Can I get a little batting practice?
I hear you.
Can I get a couple hacks in the cage before I got to face Randy Johnson?
No.
Jeez.
No, it's not going to be easy. Look, the Samter and D-Cell were like, how come they can't do the communication from a setup, like a Kurt Herbstreit setup and coach remotely?
I don't know. They should they're not allowed to is the short answer, but I would not have an issue with that myself.
Look, this is a rule that exists so that a non-coaching entity can't contribute in a game because they're either watching a TV. Well, who knows? Whatever it is, they have some way to cheat, right? But given so the communication can only be between the press box, where the coach's press box, I should say, and the sideline. That's the only communication that's allowed. But you would think, given what's gone on all season long, that they would have, found a way to make this okay in the NFL this year. I mean, have a dedicated line, have it, monitor it, make sure that it's all on the up and up. But can you imagine if it wasn't just Stefanski? what if it was Stefanski and then Alex Van Pelt was, contact traced and, 3 other coaches, and all of a sudden you got your quality control coach as your head coach and, you're trying to go win a playoff game.
You have to call in Kevin Costner.
Yeah, right. Talk about being compromised. I'm surprised that they didn't do this with all of sports, but in particular the NFL.
They should have, and it's funny that is not a point that's really been hammered home, really out of necessity. It hasn't been a central theme this year because for the most part, well, first of all, they played every game.
Yeah.
And we've managed to avert disaster. But they should have had a protocol. And this is what we talk about, having plan A, B, C, D, and so on and so forth. Like, you've got to look down the road. Where was the foresight? And it shouldn't really require that much brain power.
I don't think it is. Think about what we're doing. We've done our show on TV.
Yeah.
Basically ever since we left the studio.
Trust me, I'm well aware. But this should have been broached by the league office before the season started. Hey, guys, in the event, if we're lucky enough to finish the season uninterrupted, play 16 games, 17 weeks, not enact the 18th week, whatever, and we get to a point and it's playoff time and a head coach comes down with it or he's exposed to it, he's contract tracing, he can't come to the stadium, we need to have a situation in place where we can send somebody to his house, okay, masked up, put a hazmat suit on him if you want. I'm serious. Like, I'm not being flippant. Do that. Have him across the room and have some sort of technology set up.
Yeah.
What's so hard about that?
I don't think there isn't anything hard about that. It's actually, you can get direct feeds.
100%.
So there's no latency in the feed. So you're basically in real time. And it's
correct.
Not like he needs to be able to call every play and do everything. He just needs to be able to communicate.
Yes.
With the assistants.
Yeah. See, people are fearful of the eye in the sky, a different version, a different vantage point, right? Picking up whether it's tendencies, schematic stuff, and I understand that to an extent, but there's also something to be said for a head coach's instincts being able to be communicated. Like,
that's why he's the head coach.
Hey, you know what, guys? We're just, abandon the run for the next. We got to start airing this thing out.
Yeah.
Even the most innocuous exchange should be allowed to me. I don't get it, and it's it stinks for Stefanski, because he really deserves to be there. And he's not.
No.
And it's not right.
And there's nothing you can do about it at this point because the game is, a couple days away. But I just feel like this is a miss by the NFL in some ways because technology allows us to do these things really easily.
Yep.
Like really easily.
Roger Goodell had the draft in his man cave, which looked like it was a man cave from 1989, by the way. Come on. How do you make $30 million a year and have that kind of a man cave?
Maybe he just lives in a classic house and he doesn't need to upgrade it. It's fine.
Yeah, I guess. You can look at it that way.
He doesn't need to be in a McMansion.
Well, not even the spacing, just I don't know.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it wasn't anything special. That's for sure.
Look, he's making a lot of money. He wants to keep a lot of money. He's not going to spend it on unnecessary upgrades.
Where's the guy's poker table? Does he even have a poker set up there? I didn't see it. All right, so and your point about Stefanski, man, it's so on the money because Shoddy was from 84 to 88, 1984 through 88, goes 44 and 27. Then they bring in Bud Carson, all right, for a couple of years.
Remember that?
And that, by the way, that probably I think Browns fans probably felt decent about that based on Bud's resume.
Yeah,
that didn't work out. Belichick, say what you will, he was 36 and 44. Granted, trending in the right spot, but 36 and 44. Then they lose their team. Then it's Chris Palmer's turn, 5 and 27.
Ugh.
And it's Butch Davis coming from the U, right?
Yep.
24 and 35. And it's Romeo got a little, actually quite a lengthy dance, 64 games, 24 and 40. And you have Mangini, he was 10 and 22. Pat Shurmur was 9 and 23. Remember Rob Chudzinski?
Yeah.
He was 4 and 12. Hugh Jackson, Mike Pettin before that. Freddie Kitchens, Greg, wow. Stefanski, they should start commissioning the statue department.
I know. After one season.
No doubt, right? Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.